welcome to another episode of Fairly Average, where we talk geek, pop culture, and whatever else interesting in the world. I'm Josh Javari with your co-host, Skippy the Ninja Reyes.
Yep, same time, same channel.
Definitely not the same time, because we don't have an established time yet.
Yeah, or any sense of being topical, since this episode is our Star Wars episode, and it's coming in a month and a day after the movie came out.
Exactly, but it's fine. We wanted this episode to be as real and authentic as possible.
And it's real.
It's real, and we're very excited about our guest here today. He's not here yet. He's going to be here soon, so we're super excited. We're just waiting for him. We have some pan dulces, some coffee coming. I am so excited. And we're going to have someone that you've heard in the past but has never actually been part of the show. So that's fun.
I believe he called in an episode.
He did. Yes. He called in for a UFO sighting, which sounds really strange.
UFO, quote
unquote, yeah. So,
Joss is obsessed with aliens and UFOs.
Yeah, it wasn't really a UFO, which you can go back and listen to that episode.
It's never really a UFO.
That was a plug.
A plug.
So, today we're going to have that guest come in. We'll introduce him when he's here. And then Cesar and myself are here as usual. I mean, this is what we do. Isaac took a vacation for the week.
Yes, a leave of absence.
Yeah, so he sadly won't be here for this episode. But anyways, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I have some choco flan in me.
Yeah, it's kind of weird asking this question because we hang out all the time, every day.
You know exactly how I'm doing.
Exactly, so it's I know that you had
basically married at this point.
Basically, but not quite. Yeah, I mean, I guess we're all just kind of figuring out our lives. You had an interview last week to work at a casino.
Yeah, and I thought the interview went well, but they haven't called me back, so I'm taking that as a no.
I mean, you never know. You never know.
They could just be lazy.
Yeah, and I've had a couple callbacks. I keep getting callbacks for design jobs. And then the last meeting point for my portfolio, and then Lever hit me up again. And that kind of makes me feel a little sad. Maybe my portfolio is awful. But
no, your portfolio is great.
Oh, that's why I keep you around.
Yeah, I helped you with it.
Yeah, I mean, everybody said my portfolio was good, and now I'm just showing it to top.
According to your college grades, your computer skills are also pretty great.
I know. It's a whole mess, but yeah, I hope you get that call back. I
am not waiting on it.
You are not?
I'm not waiting on it.
It's kind of sad. You leave college, you expect to do great things, and here we are on this podcast, jobless, basically figuring life out. But we eat great.
Yes, we eat fantastic.
I feel like we're the epitome of 20-something hipsters.
Of course. Our refrigerators may not be full, but there's high quality stuff in there, the little that there is.
Yeah. Gotta
get that Kerrygold Irish butter on that toast, son. Comes in the gold foil.
Oh man, I'm so depressed now.
Welcome to the depression cast.
Oh man. Isaac keeps us young.
Oh god. Remarkably young.
So young.
He still acts like an 18-year-old.
Right.
Oh, I'm going to be 23 in 2 weeks.
I know, and the turn up real. Everyone, you guys are invited to Cesar Reyes' turn up.
They're not.
He's going to be hosting at Gotham.
No. What?
Gotham.
Going to be hosting a VIP.
We'll make you those little flyers, the one that has you throwing kissy faces and wearing a tiara and there's sparkles.
No, I'll wear pasties that say happy birthday around my nipple. It'll be all good fun.
That's awesome. Alright, we'll get back to you when our guest is here.
Woo! Go.
Oh, we're here with our guest. Sorry, that caught me off guard.
Abrupt transition.
Yeah.
I gave you the 3 seconds.
So we're here with CB.
That sounds like a trucker nickname.
Now we're here with Curtis Bailey. So Curtis, how are you?
No, my name is Citizens Band.
Oh, Citizens Band.
Citizens Bank Arena.
I'm good.
That's awesome. And what do you do?
Well, I'm a graphic designer and project manager. I end up doing more of the project managing than the graphic designing thing, but a lot of it is really related anyway. So it's fun. It's good. I get to flex a lot of different muscles.
That's awesome. I'm jealous. We were just talking about how I'm jobless on the podcast. Just kidding. Actually, Curtis and I go way back to like 3 years ago.
That's incredible.
Ancient time. Okay.
I don't know. Maybe
I think 2012 is when...
Yeah. And we actually graduated together and went to school at CSUSB, which was awesome. Yeah, I have no complaints. And we went through the art program. It was awesome. And that's where I met a fellow nerd.
Yeah, well, and I have to say that I appreciate you, I guess, delaying this Star Wars podcast so that I could be here. Because we're very timely. This is
Yeah, it's like the anniversary, the 1 month anniversary, review.
It almost exactly is, isn't it? We'll go with that. That makes it seem like we thought about it.
We can take a measured look back rather than just reacting like, oh my god, the thing happened.
Yeah.
At the time, I was so obsessed with it, like I had dreams about it. It was really strange.
Did you go see it on opening night? Did you see it like right away?
No.
The day after.
The day of, the minute he got off of work, because he had to go to work at like 4 a.m. So we're like, we probably shouldn't stay out late. It could be fun, but no. Responsibility. And the minute he got off, I was in like my little like light cosplay, like Darth Vader
BB-8 jacket.
I kind of felt like a hooker, not gonna lie, because I had like my bob wig and I had like a bunch of leather, and like my mom was like, "What are you doing?" Oh, Star Wars!
But then we ended up going to the 150 showing, so no one was there to enjoy it. Or gawk at it.
Or just like, oh, what the fuck. The good thing there's no children. How about you? Like, when did you go? Did you go opening?
Friday. I went to... Because staying up late on a school night is just not my thing anymore. But yeah.
It passes us all by.
Yeah, but I really wanted you to be here because I know how much Star Wars means to you. And for me, it was more important to have the right cast versus, no offense to my friends, but they're not really into a lot of Star Wars things.
Sci-fi in general.
Well, Isaac seems heartbroken that he couldn't be here for this, I'm sure.
He definitely said, like, I don't want to be here. Yeah. So we're like, okay, it doesn't make sense for you to talk about something you
don't know anything
or didn't even watch.
Is Han Solo the hairy one?
Yeah.
No lie. Up until just like a year ago, my wife thought that Harrison Ford was Luke Skywalker.
Oh my god,
really?
that's amazing.
I contemplated divorce briefly, but there's no accounting for that. I don't know what to say. It's just like she's almost the same age as me. I don't know how you get to be, live 3 decades after Star Wars and not know at least that basic thing. But
yeah, that seems like a basic part. And then you got like my niece who's 4 years old and just today was like playing with me like, here, I can be Han Solo in Han Solo ship and this toy can be an AT-AT walker.
That's amazing.
I'm just like, wow, that's amazing.
The nerd runs strong in your family.
Yep, we raise them right.
So when did everyone here get into Star Wars?
Star Wars for me, I mean, I feel like it's going to be the same for a lot of people my age. That it's like I don't remember it not existing. Mm-hmm. I was born just a year after the first one came out, and I would have seen probably Return of the Jedi in the theater. Mm-hmm. The other ones, I think my parents recorded them off of PBS or something. I remember a thing with Mark Hamill sitting there, like, in one of those studios talking to you about, like, how cool it was to work on the movie, and you're going to watch, making of stuff later afterwards. But, I mean, like, Star Wars has just always existed. I don't remember it not being a thing. And so it's, like, my first introduction to, like, mythology and that kind of, like, pop mythological storytelling. So it's I don't remember it not existing kind of in my brain space.
How about you?
Well, I was born in 1993, so again, Star Wars always existed for me, but like when I was kind of age to retain movies in my head, it was like seeing episode 1, and then I was like, that was kind of cool, there's more of that, and then seeing the original movies and being, this is amazing, and then seeing Attack of the Clones and being like, why is this not amazing?
So you saw episode 1 before seeing the other ones?
I'm pretty sure my earliest Star Wars memory is, pod racing.
Wow.
Which is, well, because, it's like the generation, and like my family is not like geek or Star Warsy in general. My dad's like a cholo, and my mom's like kind of valley girl-esque. Like she grew up, she has friends in
the porn industry.
She's very like kind of this cool California beach girl, and then they just happen to grow like have a nerdy little son who's not that cool.
Even your sister is cooler than you, so you're just kind of the weird one.
Cool is in quotation.
For me, my dad was the geek, but I actually didn't watch Star Wars until the ripe old age of 18.
Holy cow!
It's very recent. Only a couple years ago.
Yeah.
When I began dating him, I watched it. I had the opportunity to watch it like around 14 or 13 with my dad. Even as a child, like I think I saw little snippets of like the New Hope, and I definitely did see snippets of the prequels because that was kind of coming around the age when we were kids. But I never sat down and watched it. I don't know, something about it was like uninteresting to me.
You actually had a blood pact with Isaac.
I did. We had like this little pact, like, what's the point of watching it? Because we've already know everything. Because it was like so ingrained into culture, and everybody would freak out. Star Wars. And like my dad's like, you want to watch this? I was like, not really. I feel like I already know the story. Over it. And then it turns out...
How little you do know.
Yeah, no, especially like The Empire Strikes Back. That is awful. I'm just going to say that.
You mean... You didn't like Return. You liked Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, no, yes. Correct.
I was about to say, those are fighting words that just came out of your mouth.
That's the best movie in the
No,
series.
I agree. Return of the Jedi. My bad. The last one was kind of awful for me.
Yeah, that's when George Lucas kind of went to like sell them fucking toys, and it all kind of.
I just didn't like the cheesy ending.
Oh yeah, it was incredibly cheesy.
And the Ewoks, it was just all bad. But it wasn't until very recently, and then I got really hyped up about the Force Awakens. So I feel like I'm part of that like new wave of fans, even though I've been around for a while and I could have liked it like him, but I'm kind of I guess I'm a bandwagon fan to some extent.
Some extent,
it's all right.
Well,
we welcome all kinds.
Yeah. I think I was just more into like Indiana Jones, and I've always placed that trilogy over Star Wars.
Yeah,
it just. Something about it resonated with me more than like Star Wars.
I mean, they're within the same kind of like not genre, but feeling like the old kind of campy movies. Like nothing is serious about Indiana Jones.
No,
George Lucas loved Saturday matinee serials from like the 1930s, and that's the like birthplace of Star Wars and Indiana Jones. So yeah, it makes sense.
So. Talking about The Force Awakening, what was your experience when you went to watch it? Like, was it crowded? Did you see anything that was, different?
Well, for me, I went to a brand new theater that I'd never been to before because it had reserved seating, and I was like, I'm dying to see this movie, but I'm not going to wait outside the theater for 5 hours in hopes that I don't sit 2 inches from the screen. So it was kind of cool because it had like seats that like a little thing flipped out that I could put my legs on.
Oh, that's awesome!
Oh, this is awesome, and like really nice sound and all that kind of stuff. But And I just went with a buddy, like my movie watching buddy that I go to see everything that my wife will not see with me.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
I guess we were just excited to get in and not have, like, no offense to people with children, but, you know, sometimes crying can be a little distracting from the movie. So it was like...
I'll offend them. I hate that. It's like the worst thing.
Don't take them. Just wait until they can...
Yeah, if your baby doesn't have a fully formed skull, don't take it to a place where it's going to be, like, assaulted by light and sound. Yeah. Like, that's a basic tenet of, like,
and, you know, I'm
parenthood.
I'm really particular about movie theater thing, you know, and maybe it's because I'm of the older generation, but, like, we all paid money to sit in this big dark room together to watch a movie. That's why we're here. So why are you on your phone? Why are you talking to your friends? Why did you bring your baby? It's like none of that stuff is part of like what we kind of agreed to as a group to do in this thing.
Course.
So I will always like tell people to shut up. My wife gets really embarrassed if I hear whispering. I'm like, hey.
Have you designed like little business cards to pass over? Like, please take your child outside.
No, I'm not quite that.
That'd be great, though.
That's an idea now, though.
That's like, God, I'm trying to think of the word, like, preconceived. Like, you go in with that intent, like, I can't think of the word. But, like, coming in with that already, like, in your back pocket, that shows kind of a mind state.
So, what was your overall feelings, impressions of the movie?
I thought it was great. You know, it was weird watching it the first time actually because I've seen it twice now, and it was like so anticipated. You know, we had seen just like snippets of stuff in the trailers and whatnot. So I'm like, what is this movie actually going to be like? And I think I felt like I was actually over watching it or over analyzing the first time that I watched it rather than just letting it like kind of wash over me. But you know, even with you know like being like kind of head fucking myself that way, I still loved it because are we weapons free on spoilers? I'm guessing is that.
I mean, you had a month, people.
Yeah, it's been a month.
Okay, from here on out, there's spoilers. Fuck it, you had a month.
All right,
exactly.
Go for it.
I want to get that out there. You know, I mean, it retreads the basic plot structure of A New Hope in some cases, like really directly. But to me, that kind of stuff is not necessarily what a movie's about. I mean, to me, a movie's about, you know, what are the character relationships like? How does it make you feel? You know, what is it? How well does it flow from moment to moment? You know, does it keep you in it and all that kind of thing? So, because I mean, you know, what is there like 7, 8, 9 like basic plot structures out there, and everything else is just kind of like a variation of it. So, I mean, I think the criticism that it's you know kind of like A New Hope is a totally fair one, but I also don't really care that much. So, watching it the first time, I was just like, I am so glad that these characters are people that I want to spend time with.
And going off of that, I completely agree. I think it had to be done because there was a 30-year gap between the original ones and then these ones, and I feel it'd be really awkward if you just picked up right from the last thing without kind of like going back a little bit and kind of explaining some things here and there and then keeping it very similar because I feel it could go two ways. It could be very distant from what was, or it could just be it could just be
Well, the crazy thing about that
you understand what
is
I'm saying.
kind of like kind of not happened in movies before is that this is like a 30+ year franchise.
Yeah.
So I think it's allowed to be a little nostalgic towards itself. Yeah. Because I mean, from the time like George Lucas made the movies to the films he was referencing, about the same time has passed. So, it's kind of like a love letter to the old movies.
It is.
While still like being itself, it has like its own distinct ideas. It's, the character structure is different pretty much entirely. It's less of a retread than people think. Nostalgia is a powerful
I think it has some like really strong personality of its own. Oh, it really does.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Well, and other people have pointed this out, but I think it's worth kind of mentioning that the very first line of dialogue is, "This will begin to make things right." And you feel like, okay, that's, those two characters talking to each other, but it's also like Lucasfilm and JJ and whatnot talking to us too, right? Like, hey, we're going to hit the reset button and it's going to feel good. We're going to put a smile on your face. And then the guy that made Looper and Brick is going to come along in a couple years and like do something really interesting with it. So have you seen,
I've seen
Ryan
Looper.
Johnson's other movies? Cause he's directing the next one.
No.
I've seen Looper.
Yeah.
Maybe some other stuff. I don't know exactly.
Seek out Brick and watch that. It's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of talk from like people involved, like episode 8 is gonna be darker. It's gonna be all that, and I think it's they played it safe. People wanted to see kind of like a completely like new direction or something bold that didn't like. But you can't let go of like 40 years of history, and like said, like people wanted to know that it was in the hands of people that like felt it was special and they knew it was good. So you kind of have this thing that's like, okay, this is all familiar. It's different enough. It's familiar, and we're gonna launch off from there.
Yeah.
I think it was great. I mean, if you look at, the only other time that I've seen that, like, a film was picked up after a really long period of time was actually Indiana Jones, which was my baby.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, they messed it up. They didn't know how to deal with it.
It was still in the hands of George Lucas. And Steven Spielberg didn't care. He's like, monkeys? Okay, George. Yeah. Aliens? Okay, George.
Like, I understand some choices that they wanted to do along the plot line. Like, yes, like, Indy would now move into the Cold War era. But, like, aliens? Like...
You know what? I'm going to go out on maybe a little bit of a limb here and defend at least the aliens as, like, a concept for, like, the structure of that. Because the original Indiana Jones movies are set in the 30s.
Yeah.
And what was kind of, like, in the cultural zeitgeist in the 1930s was... exotic lands, occult stuff, all that, things that are in Temple of Doom and in Last Crusade. And in the 1950s, outer space, we're entering into like the atomic age, the jet age. So all this stuff about like, Sputnik was up in the air and rockets. And so I think it makes sense that aliens was the thing that was at the center of that movie, even if they like executed it in a very weird way.
Yeah,
I'm on board with aliens at least as an idea. So I'll defend George Lucas.
It feels like they didn't shift the style of the movie enough to shift, to go with the shift of premise, really.
So that's where Star Wars really did a good job, because it did shift, as we're all saying, but it still kept, some of those feelings from the older movies. What were the best moments for you throughout the film? Your top 3. Let's go around the room.
Oh, God, you're putting me on the spot.
Do it.
Top 3 moments. Finn pulling out the lightsaber on Emo Ren, and because it struck a chord, because it was talked about even in the trailers that it was like someone with a lightsaber that didn't have supreme confidence and knew he was going to like just tear through like someone. It showed like a good part of people knew about character development and the series and everything. God, top 3 parts of the movies. That's so hard. I really liked the bits of humor that were thrown in there, like the BB-8 like flicking, and Harrison Ford, like he looked happy to be in a movie for the first time, even though he probably begged to get killed off so he didn't have to do another one.
He did.
Well, I mean, it's been on record for quite a long time that he thought his character should have died in Return of the Jedi, and I agree with him. I mean, it was nice that he didn't, so he came back this time, but I mean, he doesn't really serve a story purpose in Return of the Jedi, and his character doesn't do anything all that unique to Han Solo either, so...
Yeah.
I'm going to back him up on that one.
I don't know. It's just the things, like just the character being there kind of makes the movie for me. Because who doesn't love like the devilish rogue kind of guy, like spits one-liners. And that great scene for going off on a tangent for to Return of the Jedi, where like Leia pulls out the gun on the stormtroopers and he's like, "I love you," and she's like, "I know."
Yeah.
Like that was great. But yeah, so the bits of humor again they're showing, because there was like no humor in the prequels or like bad attempts at it. So again, knowing where to hit their mark was good, and I'd say like Kylo Ren just showing to be like, that was the biggest like if for me, because
no, don't say the ifs, just best moment.
No, not like if, but that was the biggest like question for me going into it, because I kind of kept myself on a bit of a media blackout. I didn't see like little as possible. I saw crossguard lightsaber, like Kylo Ren thing, black stormtrooper, and some like other like kind of meaningless like just shot effects. And that showed like they weren't doing a retread of Darth Vader, and the kind of retread of Darth Vader was kind of part of his character, that he wanted to be like him, and that's interesting.
Yeah.
That he's just not like big bad guy, which Darth Vader kind of was until they fleshed out his character more.
The way that Kylo Ren was represented, I felt like is what Anakin Skywalker, young Anakin, should have been.
Yeah. Definitely.
Is it me? Am I doing my 3 now?
Yeah.
The BB-8 thumbs up was like the best timed visual gag. Like, visual gags don't always work, but that one was perfect.
It was amazing.
I also have to go with Rey pausing in the middle of her the climactic lightsaber duel. She pauses to calm herself, because they made that like a really big thing in this movie. Not just that, the dark side and light side are opposed to each other, but like the different methodologies, and kind of a way that the other movies didn't delve into as much.
Right.
Like Kylo Ren is off the hook, like uncontrolled. He goes crazy. And then like when Rey is trying to mind control the stormtrooper, it doesn't work until she says it with calm confidence. So when she pauses in the middle of that lightsaber fight to like meditate and collect herself, yeah, I mean that gave me chills.
There's the visual effect in everything.
Yes.
So they definitely put like thought into it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean that was probably like the best moment in the whole movie, because I was like, I love this character. I love what they're doing with her, and they're making it like thematically, tight. I really appreciate that. And then probably the Millennium Falcon being uncovered, because
that piece of junk.
We're not getting in that piece of junk. Get to that piece of junk.
That's great, because like I kind of thought they were gonna go there, and then like, bam, and it was hilarious.
I was like, please be it, please be it, please. Yes.
Because again, that shows like, okay, time has passed. They probably have better technology now, and but it's still kind of like, haha, that's funny.
I kind of like the trope of like the good guys like being like under like tech, whatever, like less advantage when it comes to stuff. Like in Firefly, Serenity's like an old like crappy ship, but they pull through it with scrap and a wit.
Yeah,
I like that.
And that seems to be a common theme. Top 3 in no particular order, but one's obviously a lot more important. For one, a lot of BB-8 being BB-8.
Yeah.
It's just so necessary, and his design is brilliant. I think it's just so cute. One of my couple favorite parts when he was being like pushed up into like little aircrafts, like being like vacuumed up. I don't know why I thought that was adorable.
She cries when that happens.
It makes no sense. Just something about seeing like this little guy like getting in position under like the little aircraft just being brought up is like, oh my god, he's so
he's the valiant warrior. He's the good soldier. He's like, he can't defend himself, but he's going to come along and help anyway.
And then of course, like another part with him was when he's like, is that the jacket stealer? And he's like, like he's whispering to Rey, and then she's like beating the shit out of like Finn, and it's like, yeah, go for it. The other thing one of my other favorite parts, is probably just the queer, like, power person in me. But when Poe and Finn discover they're alive and they just go for that bro hug, that is everything to me. For, like, their relationship is so fun and interesting because usually when you have two guys and, like, a mean girl, like, what happens is they have this annoying, stupid, like we have to fight for the chick. Yeah. It's really irritating. And it's just nice to see, like, bros being bros without, like, the necessary girl thing going on.
Yeah. I think that was, like, actually, like, a high point in the movie of itself. Like, they're all just friends. Like, there's no, like, romance subplot. I mean...
There might be a little bit.
Rey kind of kisses Finn when he's, like, you know, recovering. But that's kind of, you know, like... Dude took a lightsaber in the back for you.
Yeah. Quite honestly, I think Finn might like Rey. And that's fine because I think he would fall in love with her because he's been put into this world where there is no love. He's been trained as a soldier and he doesn't experience love. And, like, the first person he meets and, like, she's really nice and everything, like, is giving him, like, attention and stuff. Why wouldn't you fall in love with that? I personally don't think Rey likes him like that. I think she just kissed him on the forehead and, like, it thinks of him as a friend. Yeah. And I think Poe might be in love with Finn. But that's it. So I think, like, there's no weird love triangles. And that's fun. The third thing, and, like, spoiler, like, this is the big spoiler.
Yeah, just in case you didn't know.
Yeah. My favorite thing was also the saddest thing because I have the biggest crush on Harrison. Yeah. And was that lightsaber through the chest. It was so necessary. You saw it coming. Everybody saw it coming. And I think what was so important about it was if you know Han Solo, you know he would not get in that situation with anybody else but his kid. Yeah. And that just shows the important theme of, like, family in the Star Wars universe and what it means to be a father figure or a mother figure or just family in general. And he did the biggest sacrifice for his son by putting himself in that situation. And essentially, like, I guess he allowed himself to die. Yeah. Yeah. For the sake of doing something for his son. Yeah. And that son is a dick, but...
Yeah, my thoughts on that are, number one, that's completely correct. I mean, we've seen Han where, like, if the chance presents itself, he shoots Greedo under the table. Yeah. When the door opens and Darth Vader's being, like, a little asshole sitting at the table, first thing he does, takes out his gun, tries to shoot him. Yeah. But then he goes to see, you know, Ben up on the catwalk. But as soon as I saw, like, Han see Ben on the catwalk and, like, oh, I gotta talk to him, I knew that was gonna happen. Mm-hmm. I think that really didn't come as a shock to about anyone.
No, and it probably was fine because it just made, like, Ren's words much more powerful. Like, you know, Dad, I really need something from you. Can I need to do this because this feeling, I can't stop it. And you know what he's referring to. Like, this internal dilemma he has is because he has family. Mm-hmm. And he's asking his dad, essentially, like, I need to kill you right now because if I don't kill you, I'm going to continue to have this pain in my soul. Mm-hmm. And I need to do this because this is going to take me to that place where I want to be, which is his ultimate goal of being, like, evil, mastering the dark side, and being as close to Darth Vader as possible. And he's asking very straight up, can I do this? And his dad's like, okay, I'll do anything for you. Like, whatever you ask.
Yeah, but, I mean, the wording was, like, intentionally vague. Yeah. So, you know, it's like, oh, maybe you will, maybe you won't. But, yeah, then
I don't think it was that vague on Ren's part. I think, like, Han probably was hoping.
I mean, if we're going from, like, character, like, from the character point of view, but from, like, the audience point of view, he's saying, oh, you know, there's this issue inside of me. Can you help me? And that's, you know, like, Dad, you know, I don't know what to do. I feel dark, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. So, like, from the audience point of view, it's a little more gray, but still then the inevitable happens.
Do you think killing Han Solo was necessary?
Yes and no. I mean, necessary in the fact that, I mean, I wouldn't want to see Harrison Ford in another movie. He's getting on in years, and he hurt himself badly in this one. And, you know, he served a purpose in the plot, and we'll see how that furthers in the next movie. Because after, like, it's not even really mentioned in, like, the lightsaber battle with him and Rey, and then that happens, and then we don't get to see Kylo again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that'll be part of the plot in the next movie.
Yeah, I think they needed to. I mean, like we talked about before, you know, Harrison Ford and some other people involved in the production felt like for a long time that this character had kind of used up his, like, story relevancy, and they found a really good way to use him. I mean, they basically gave him, like, the Obi-Wan, you know, the mentor part. But, you know, to a certain degree, the kind of, like, you know, carefree rogue guy, there's only so far you can go with him unless you completely change who he is. And I think they gave him just enough of a arc, you know, going into being this kind of, like, sad, estranged father that's, you know, trying to, you know, find some kind of reconnection with his son as, like, his last thing. That's about as best as they could do. I mean, I thought it was...
Yeah.
It's interesting they have kind of a person to pick up the kind of rogue personality in Poe.
Yeah.
Because, you know, when you see him... He's
he was dreaming.
He's like,
He's so
I can fly anything.
And it's so funny that you say that because I'm like the biggest Harrison Ford fan.
And you love Poe.
And I loved Poe, and like immediately, like I think a week after, I didn't spoil anything, but I was like, that Poe.
Yeah.
And then like my friends were like, so someone moved on really quickly from Big. It's like, it's easy to move on when you're presented this other really great character.
I was just sad that there wasn't more of him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, better to leave you wanting more than the other thing, but I was just like, he was great. I want to see more of him in the next movie.
And that just shows how awesome he was, because he was apparently originally supposed to not even have more than the opening scene.
Yeah.
And then they were like, he seems interesting. Let's bring him back. And I'm glad they did.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. And he does in the movie show a bit more depth than the kind of rogue person, because, you know, when Finn and him meet, it's like a big, bro, whatever.
Just
you know,
keep the jacket. You're good.
It's a deeper connection.
I'm sorry.
Someone didn't turn their phone off for the podcast.
But yeah, I agree with that. So, moving on to one of our next questions.
As she switches it to vibrate.
I know, I'm the worst. Moving on to one of our next questions. I actually got this from a friend of ours, Cesar Montes, who is a creator at Well, There It Is podcast. He's awesome. We kind of started our podcast around the same time, so these kind of like our like sister like podcast, kind of like, yeah.
Our sister.
Kind of. And he wanted to ask us is, what problems do you have with the movie, if any?
I was really concerned the first time I saw Snoke. I was like, what is this character exactly? And, you know, what am I looking at?
Really
what's up with that, for starters?
I did not get that it was a projector.
Yeah, well, I think they intentionally wanted to head fake you on that. But
yeah.
I'm still not completely sold exactly. I mean, I'm willing to kind of see where they take him, but just a little weird. Felt a little kind of non-Star Wars-y to me. And I know that's very vague, but...
He looks more like Gollum or something
to
me.
Well, I mean, you know, he's like alien guy, and, you know, for a dark alien sort of thing, it's a good design. But yeah, I feel kind of the same way.
A little bizarre. And then, I mean, the other thing is that, I mean, and we kind of talked about this before with the structural thing, but I really am looking forward to whatever they do for the next, like the big conflict in the next couple of movies, not being another giant, like, weapon base.
Mm-hmm. I guess, like, most of my nitpicking comes from tiny little details, like Poe. I have no idea how Poe ended up in the last scene. Not that I'm complaining because he's dreamy, but but like it just didn't make sense. Like his jacket was already outside, but he didn't think to check the perimeter for like Finn, who was not that far from the ship.
No, there's dialogue in the movie about that.
Really?
Yeah, I don't remember precisely what it was, but he says that he like it's when they have their bro reuniting and show the big hug. He says something about like waking up and didn't see any sign of the ship or Finn or anything like that. So that he took off. There's dialogue about that. I just don't remember precisely what it is.
I think my thing was I know that the ship got sunk in the sinkhole or in the quicksand. However, the jacket was already outside. So it's like, well, how was the jacket outside? Like when did it fly off when they were out? That was like the only explanation.
He ejected and the ship was damaged, so it got caught on the screen or something.
I guess
because it was in the script.
Whatever.
What's laying over there? Yeah. Is it the script?
Whatever happened, that's a tiny detail, which maybe they had the dialogue about it, but the jacket was still outside before the sinking of the ship, which, what the hell? Also, I was upset, and this is again me as a feminist, just the women characters that I was excited to see, and like everybody was talking about like, oh, there's gonna be more diversity. I feel like I didn't get to see them. There was Rey.
Yeah.
There was of course Maz. But Maz, who was Lupita, like, she's a woman of color. They could have shown her more. They gave her a CGI creature who's, like, yay big. And she didn't have, like, this much personality.
Yeah, I wasn't crazy about that character.
Yeah.
She fit kind of weirdly into the story. Like, it's this odd second act thing where, like, they need somebody to give, like, the plot, like, to have the heroes change direction. Because it's at that point when Rey says, oh, this is too much for me. I'm scared now, and she runs away. So I mean, she serves that purpose in the story, but the way they used her was weird to me.
Yeah,
and the CG face. Why can't you just put Lupita in some prosthetics, maybe, or something? I don't know, but I wasn't crazy about that one either.
Also, Phasma, another great character that could have potentially so much backstory. She's a badass. She has a metal suit. She's like in charge of all these guys. Yeah. How'd she get there? Why'd she get there? Like, can we see her face? Like, why?
Apparently, she's gonna have a bigger part in the next.
That's what I understand.
Exactly, and I'm excited to see that because that was one of my problems that I wanted to see more of her, and that's good on them that they make me want to see more.
Do you guys watch Game of Thrones?
No, I don't.
So that's where that actress comes from.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I understand.
So I'm excited to see her, and then who else was there? Oh, another character. She was in that movie for about a minute. She was one of the spies in the tavern. I didn't catch her name.
The like dark.
Yeah, she had like amazing makeup.
Oh, she looked kind of like Harley Quinn almost.
Yeah. She had amazing makeup. I was like, shouldn't you guys know that she probably said her makeup is on point?
Yeah, like she's like obviously like a dark. She looks evil.
Yeah, that like lip liner is too on point. She seemed interesting, and like she didn't really have much other than a whisper to like an alien.
Well, I mean that's that's kind of not like a knock because she wasn't like a character. She was kind of like a device.
Yeah, yeah.
She's like the spy. She was a spy.
I just felt like I was probably let down with her because like the media promoted her and Lupita a lot more than they actually had in like the movie, and that was like disappointing to me.
Yeah,
definitely.
I mean, it is interesting though that we got basically 4 new main or mainish characters, and there's a guy from Guatemala.
I think so.
I think Oscar Isaac is from Guatemala. We have a woman, and we have a black guy.
Yeah.
And then the villain is the white guy.
as he is throughout history. Yeah, John Boyega's great. Musing an American accent in the movie is interesting.
He did a really good American accent.
No, if you didn't know he was English, you wouldn't be able to tell at all. It doesn't slip.
I was really impressed. Because oftentimes, like Ewan McGregor, when he tries to do it, it comes out kind of dodgy.
Or like just accents tend to slip. My problems with the movie. One, the kind of aping of A New Hope. I didn't like Curtis said. I didn't really care that much, but I still kind of wish it wasn't like that. I get it. Like, you know, the movie was just a wave of nostalgia. As soon as, like, the John Williams came on, like
you cried.
A single tear.
No, there was bawling. He was like, hold me.
Not. Okay, now you're just lying. But yeah, no, like, a couple tears rolled down my cheeks as soon as, like, the big John Williams hit.
He cried.
Yeah, tears were shed. So yeah, nostalgia. Yeah, definitely not seeing
I have
a lot
something.
of Phasma. I didn't interrupt you on your list.
No, I have something that we both agreed on. The overkill of, like, Nazi Germany.
Oh, yeah. That was
a
gonna
lot.
be one of my things. Like, Star Wars was always, like, stormtroopers and Darth Vader was always, like, vaguely Nazi-ish, like Evil Empire, but then they had a blonde guy yelling at a bunch of troops.
In German accent.
Yeah, vaguely, I guess. But then they Zig-Heiled. Like, what the fuck?
Well, and the tall red banner or something, like in this alpine forest, which looks very much like parts of Germany and stuff. I mean, they hit it pretty hard.
Yeah, it's like they're troopers like 500 feet away from the podium. They're not hearing you yell. You know, and just like okay, like I saw the banners, I was like, I saw the guy yelling, I was like,
and then
the fucking Sieg Heil. They did like that is not established anywhere in the Star Wars canon. Number one, number two.
They could have just stood to attention, like
like a stand to attention. It would have been the same thing. I still would have rolled my eyes, but my eyes wouldn't be permanently lodged in the back of my head forever.
Maybe they were just doing the Bellamy salute.
Yeah, the Bellamy salute was the original way to salute the flag at the Pledge of Allegiance.
It was just a lot, though.
The same as it got. Let's see, other problems with the movie. Well, a minor nitpick was they had 3 actors from The Raid, a great Cambodian, I think, action movie, and they just got eaten by the space monsters on the Millennium Falcon. I would have...
Yeah, I heard that those guys, like JJ and those guys, just wanted to do something together. So he's like, all right, I got these part of, like, these mercenaries. So
yeah, I wouldn't have even cared if they just got, like, beat up in a scene, but I would have liked to see them, like, fight instead of just
space kung fu.
I wanted to see space kung fu and not like a bunch of Cambodian looking guys get eaten by space monsters. Yeah. And that is very minor. I just love that movie. I suggest everyone who hasn't watched it, watch it. If you're okay with gore, because someone gets killed with a door.
I do have something else. This is me being crazy. A crazy feminist. Okay. So, I know I'm not crazy, actually, because my sister saw this movie separately and brought up this question separately. And the only people that didn't see this were men. Okay, so when Rey gets captured by Kylo Ren, he has her under his control, like, you know, she's locked down, and then he walks up to her very menacingly and breathing into her, like, you know, I can do whatever I want to you.
And then he tries to do, like, the mind rape sort of thing.
And it was so creepy. It just felt so rape culture-y. It was uncomfortable.
I think that might have been I think that might have been the point, kind of a bit, because, like, you know, I mean, this shows he's evil, number one, and that the fact that he's like mind raping, like, this person, like, you know, like, he's like kind of a sadist.
We bring you a new guest, my sister, who has something to say.
My lord!
Player 4 has entered the game.
I've just been listening on the side and I couldn't keep it in, but this is ridiculous. Oh my god. I was so uncomfortable when that happened. Like, I couldn't... I just...
I mean, did you think that, like, was it uncomfortable and, like, I feel uncomfortable in a way that they didn't intend? Or, like... Oh,
no,
wow, they did a good job because
it.
I'm feeling very uncomfortable.
I didn't know because it's Disney. Like, you wouldn't expect something so, like, that sexual tension. I was just like, oh God, yes, Disney, are you trying to do this, or did you not do this perpetually?
I just felt like it could have been worded differently. Like,
Well,
I can do whatever I
no,
want
and
to.
just like how close he was to her
I
face.
think part of it was intention.
If you've seen the animated Hunchback from Notre Dame,
Oh,
you know
shit.
that
Oh,
Disney
that's awful.
and sexual creepiness go back a
No, I
ways.
agree.
But you don't see it so much in modern Disney. That was
Yeah.
like old
Yeah,
Disney.
the mouse.
But
is
it
now
is
a
still an
corporation.
adult movie.
Well, I mean, but this movie was made
Yeah.
under the Lucasfilm umbrella. I mean, yes, Disney owns them. You know, I don't know that they're bringing a whole lot of the. I mean, the Disney logo didn't even play.
Right.
You know, for years, you know, I've had the association of you see that Fox logo and hear the Fox fanfare.
Yeah.
And that's even when I'm watching like non-Star Wars movies and that plays, I immediately expect to see the Lucasfilm thing pop up. But Disney didn't even throw the castle up, which I was totally expecting to see. So you know,
like brand, I think. Well, it seems like Disney, even though like there's a lot of people are kind of squeamish about them buying stuff like Marvel and Lucasfilm and LucasArts for that matter, they don't seem to interfere too much with regards to that. The Marvel movies that they've done have tackled kind of uncomfortable things like Big Hero 6, like Hero when like after Tadashi dies, he's like super depressed, and that's like really like uncomfortable. So it seems to be like just if the creators like do it, then it's cool.
it does feel in some ways we're getting a little back to like a Don Bluth sensibility, where it's like, you know, hey, you know, these stories matters more to people when you allow there to be a little bit of sadness and darkness in them. Otherwise, it's just like a light, effervescent bullshit, you know, fairy tale that
That's true.
you know has nothing for you to grab onto other than, oh, I was entertained for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that about it.
So I guess this leads us to our final section in our speed round of questions. So, first question. Why is Star Wars put on such a high pedestal by society?
It's like a big cultural thing. Like, it speaks to people in a way because everyone has a little bit of Luke in them. You know, they want to go out, they want to see the world, they want to be something more than themselves. And that's what adventure films do to you, you know? Like, no one sees something like Black Swan or like a dark drama and is like comes out like with butterflies in like their soul.
Yeah.
But you see like an adventure movie like, you know, Indiana swinging from a vine and Luke like doing all kinds of cool stuff and like fulfilling something.
We respond really strongly to that monomyth thing, you know, the Joseph Campbell hero's journey. Like, when that's done and it's done well, human beings kind of relate to that in a really weird, kind of not completely understood way.
Because humans like have like yearn for fulfillment, basically.
I think the other thing too is that like Star Wars hit at the right time. In 1977, the 70s sucked. You know, we just got our ass kicked in Vietnam, and there was the gas crisis and like all this stuff. Like, if you watch 70s cinema prior to Star Wars, it's grim. I mean, really good. Some of it's fantastic, but like it's just like everything's terrible. And then Star Wars hit at the exact right time, and it was like, come on, let's go have fun instead. And because of that, it exploded and could not help filter through the 80s, through the 90s, and you know, by the time you get to now, it's just like this massive thing that has always been there for so many people.
I mean, to kind of compare it to another like 70s sci-fi thing, you know, Star Trek, it hits some of the kind of points. It's sci-fi, it's in the 70s, it's futuristic, but there's no adventure to it. It's thought-provoking and it makes your brain feel good because every episode is like a different like crazy Socratic argument, like, you know, what is life, what is humanism, what is this, but there's not a lot for your like the human spirit.
So next question. Why is nerd culture so enticing to younger generations? Why do they feel the need to identify with it?
Well, because I think nerd culture is pop culture now.
I agree.
Back when I was a kid, liking like Dragon Ball Z and stuff wasn't like the coolest thing. Well, even Dragon Ball Z is kind of like, on the like more popular end, but like being into like anime and like Star Wars and stuff, it wasn't like the coolest thing. But now there comes a generation where it's like, I mean, there are like big conventions that sell out entire like civic centers. It's just become pop culture because I don't know exactly why.
Well, I mean,
honestly.
I feel like things like Star Wars and superheroes are our cultural mythology.
Yeah.
The United States doesn't
American.
have a mythological identity, so we created our own, and it's with stuff like Star Wars. It's the stories that we tell to ourselves, and if civilization died tomorrow, we'd be telling these stories to each other around a fireplace. Or,
And I don't know, me being the youngest one here, probably seeing it the most because you're talking about younger generations. Basically, like, I mean, when I was younger, I grew up on Dragon Ball Z, Pokemon, Hamtaro, stuff like that, nerdy things like that. And I would get made fun of for stuff like that because everybody was like, "Oh no, that's not the norm. If you watch it, you're like some like outcast or like
talking hamster."
And also, it didn't help that I was female. No one understood, and so you're kind of just put to the side. But as like I grew older, I just saw everyone getting more into it. And I'm just like, what the hell's happening? Because you don't expect people that like had shunned you out prior to that they like are now into it, and they're like, oh, it just became the norm, and now people are like shunned upon for like not liking stuff like that. I guess nerdy things has become like the educated, it's basically like it's the new popular, and like if you like stuff like that, you're either educated. And basically what it makes you, in simplest terms, it makes you not ratchet.
Not ratchet.
I know ratchet people.
I'm going to retract my answer and just go with that.
Not ratchet.
It makes you not ratchet.
I feel like indulging in nerd culture is basically indulging in nostalgia. And I think, like, as people get older, they're more likely to, like, become, well, I don't want to say become nerdy, but indulge in nerdier things because you grew up with a certain, like, group of media and things that you consumed as a child, and when you don't have it, you might want to go back to it, and that's you nerding out or geeking out on those things because that's what you know, that's what you grew up, that's what you loved. I know for myself, I didn't consider myself a nerd, but I really was. I really like superhero things. I like things like Indiana Jones. I didn't think that was nerdy. That's what I grew up with. That's what my dad gave me. And so as the older I got, I was like, I like this. Why does no one else like this? And then they're like, oh, you're just a nerd. And like now that it's more socially acceptable and we all talk about like the things that we like, it's a lot easier.
I think nerd as a pejorative doesn't make sense because all it is like saying, I like to have my imagination stimulated.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's kind of like it does go back to nostalgia, right? I mean, like millennials or whatever we're getting called is kind of seen as the nostalgia generation, just because things have changed so radically over our lives. We kind of yearn back for like the simpler times. And does it
with gargoyles?
Yeah, I mean, doesn't your dad still love like ABBA and the stuff that he grew up with?
Oh, okay. I still love ABBA.
I love ABBA.
That's
well,
my
I'm
shit.
just saying, like people love the stuff they grow up with, and now, people with buying power are, grew up with comic books and cartoons, and people like. They want to see it, so people make it because they can get money.
That's true. It's also easier to like access because like if you had a tape before and it got fucked, it's fucked. But now it's on the internet, and like you can keep that. You can put it on YouTube. I'll be watching like Static Shock reruns on YouTube in the morning.
No one cares about Static Shock. Which
completely,
it's a good show.
Completely underrated. They talk about quickly. They talk about like gang violence, like racism.
That's a part of why it got canceled early.
It needed to. I mean, that's a good stuff. It's for children.
No, but
it's good.
But if every
I'm not saying you should join gangs. I'm saying against gangs.
If every episode is a very special episode, then people don't want to see that all the time.
Okay, so I think we already talked about this, so maybe we'll just say in one sentence around the room. Are people cutting this movie too much slack, seeing that it is essentially a clone of Episode 6?
No.
No, I think it's fine.
I leave that to each person to decide.
Yeah. Next question. Is Rey a good female role model for young girls?
I think she's a good role model in general.
I agree.
And that's kind of like the whole discussion about like, oh, is she a good role model for girls or something to girls? And I think the big point is that she's just a character. Like she's not like a princess wanting to go outside and play in the mud. Like she's already in the mud.
She's hardcore.
Yeah, like she's just a person. Like her femininity doesn't come into her character really like at all until like the kind of rape culture kind of thing.
The kind of rape culture?
Well,
Kind of?
yeah, well,
Arguably rape
evident.
culture.
Oh.
well, I'm just saying like it doesn't like come into that, which is I think like the point of feminism really, right?
Yeah,
I
well,
mean,
it's,
for the character.
where she
like,
starts with is really interesting. I mean, I think she's a lot more sad and kind of like instantly relatable than Luke, who is, let's be honest, I mean, we all joke about the whiny, I want to go to Tashi Station. Thing. You identify with him because the script tells you to. But I think Rey is given a lot more stuff early on that really makes you feel like you are on her journey with her. And yeah, I kind of like you said that I think she's a role model for anybody because she's a moral person. She has stuff that she has to deal with, but she stops that idiot guy from trying to take BB-8.
I know.
She just meant the soccer ball, and she
Could have taken the money. She was looking at the money. She was tempted. She was like,
and that was a little tiny moment, but I was just like, oh, that's really cool.
yeah.
Because that shows us who she is, and I'm on her team now.
She reminded me a lot of Korra from the Avatar universe.
I'm not as stubborn.
Yeah, not as
And
stubborn.
more open-hearted.
Yeah, definitely nicer, but she did remind me a lot. Personally,
And in
I think she
season
is
2,
a good role model. I didn't
that
really think
lady.
of her, I never stopped to think, oh, this is a girl doing this. I just thought, oh, this is a person doing this. And so I guess that, like you said, her femininity didn't come into question until that weird part where I was like, ugh, creepy.
Which makes her lack of merchandising, at least by Hasbro and stuff, ever so baffling.
Yeah, I agree.
It's embarrassing.
It's literally
At the same
embarrassing.
time, I didn't relate to her character. I don't know. I liked other characters more than
Would
her.
you relate to Kylo?
No,
Mood swings.
I think
I can get whatever I want.
I think I related more to Finn. He was much more interesting to me than her for some reason because he had big choices to make.
Because he also doesn't know about emotions that much.
He's just more interesting to me, but that's just me. Okay, so we already talked about this, so we might skip this unless you guys want to add anything. What made Star Wars so popular? Is it okay that the franchise is essentially now being hoarded out by Disney?
I mean, it got hoarded out as soon as Lucas got merchandising rights.
Its
I
existence
agree.
is hoary.
Yeah.
I mean, there's an argument could be made that
They brought back a movie franchise from 40 years ago.
Yeah. Well, and hell, there's the Star Wars Holiday Special. Has anybody else seen that abomination?
Yeah, okay, it's abomination.
Yeah.
Next question. Why did R2-D2 just suddenly wake up at the most convenient time?
Movie magic. It's in nearly every movie.
R2 had to be in the movie somehow. If he was going to be shut down, at least last minute, put him in.
It just kind of felt sad,
Because Kenny Baker needed a job. Cause
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those things that was for plot expediency.
Yeah.
I think more so than anything.
And I think also
plot
to
stuff.
connect it to the other movies because you kind of see a set of new characters. You don't really see that much of the old ones, and so R2 gave that sense of connection. Same with Leia
and
and Han and
C-3PO.
Chewie.
Oh, one of my favorite comedy bits of the movie was Han and Leia locking eyes. Then C-3PO was like, "Hey
That's him being annoying.
That's also fantastic.
I
That's
just felt
character
really
setting.
sad about R2-D2 being like in the dark corner, like pretty much dead, and then this sexy new thing walking around taking his shtick, you know, being cute, and like the comic relief. I was like, oh, that's sad. They put baby in the corner.
I actually, though, admire the restraint, though, that they didn't overstuff it. Because they could have very easily had, like, from minute one, R2 and BB-8 are buddies. Let's watch this now. You know, I mean, I actually appreciate it.
I want that to be one of the spin-off movies they do.
R2 and BB-8's big holiday adventure.
Who cares about, like, Rogue Squadron's gonna be probably cool. But, like, the Han Solo backstory movie, I don't want to know his backstory.
Yeah.
He's perfect as I know him. Just have R2, D2, and BB-8 like robot adventures.
2 hours of like
Them just like rolling.
that'd be great. I love that.
Because they've showed in the movies they can like communicate. Like you get like they play a emotion very well. So just have that. Have people around to give some like plot expediency. Yeah. I'd watch the hell out of
I
that.
would enjoy that.
Next question: will Kylo Ren return? If so, will he be less inept?
Yes, and no.
Yes, he will return.
Of course, he'll return.
And then no.
He might be as inept. He had gone to complete his training, but we can't predict if that'll go well or not.
Did anyone ever tell him the backstory of Darth Vader?
Yeah, basically.
Because obviously no one did.
Or how it ended.
Yeah, how it ended. Like he had a change in heart.
But yeah,
I was like, we need to finish.
I'm basically with you. I mean, he'll be back and probably even more dangerous.
I think the fact that he's so unstable emotionally makes him that much more dangerous and terrifying.
The dark side styly, yes.
Yeah.
So I know some people were complaining like, oh, why is he so emo? Like, go to My Chemical Romance. And I'm like, he's great.
He's a Skywalker, kind of.
Yeah. I think that, like, using that word and what it implies to describe any bad guy that's not just like, Heath Ledger, Joker level of nihilist or anything like that, it shows that people don't really want depth, I guess, with villainy. I mean, they just want him to be like all bad all the time. And, Kylo Ren is scarier because his villainy comes from a very human place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think that's a bullshit viewpoint item.
One of my favorite scenes, which was kind of funny but also kind of scary, was when he was throwing a fucking tantrum over not getting something, and he was destroying everything with his little crossbow. The stormtroopers are like, "Whoa, no, back it up!" Like,
yeah, it's an establishing character moment and a good bit of comedy. Like,
it makes you wonder if they have like in the operating budget, like Kylo Ren, like just a line item, rebuild console, something or other.
Kylo tantrum.
I hope that kind of comes into play in like a further movie. Like we've seen like all the lightsaber play has been kind of like measured, either slow and kind of meaningful in the original, and like acrobatic and flippy, and make kids like it in the prequels. But like, what kind of devastation can a dude just being fucking angry as fuck with the lightsaber can do, right? Mm-hmm. Like, say he's like meeting with like the Senate, or with like a bunch of prisoners or something, and someone pisses him off. Like, he's just gonna go through like 10 heads at once. That'd be fucking insane. That'd be a good character moment.
So, last question. Is Luke going to be Yoda 2? Is Rey just going to be Luke 2? Is Kylo Ren going to be Darth Vader 2? Is BB it going to be R2-D2 2?
Yes.
Yes to all. No. God. BB-8's probably going to be like R2-D2 2. Because, I mean, how far can you go with a robot? But R2 is like a perfect character in the series because he's a tool. He provides visual comedy sometimes, which is always welcome, and as a tool, he can be part of the drama. Like R2-D2 hacked the door, then he needs 60 seconds before, before they get murdered.
I think a lot of those are possible. The only one that doesn't really track with me is Luke being Yoda too. I don't
No.
We
think so.
we see so little of Luke, and I don't think Kylo's gonna be Vader too.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
So overall, how is your feelings of The Force Awakenings? Was it what you wanted to see? And how many lightsabers going into Han Solo would you give it?
Oh, that's dark. What's the maximum number
Yeah,
of
I
lightsabers?
10 lightsabers.
Well,
So I can make this really disgusting if you want to. I mean, we've touched on it. That it could have done things more original. I mean, but people, look and say that, like, Episode 1 did things that were more original. That doesn't necessarily mean that it was good.
Gungans,
So
trade negotiations.
I mean, I think the criticisms are fair, but they also kind of miss the point that, what was important to happen here was to, kind of reset that feeling, because that's what people really relate to with these movies, is that it makes you feel a certain way. And this one did that, despite the problems that it does have. And I give it 8 Han Solo skewerings.
You're looking at me, so I guess it's my turn. I feel good about it. It was a good shot of nostalgia. It has people like genuinely excited about the franchise again, because a lot of the excitement before was, are they gonna fuck it up? Is it okay?
Yeah.
Is it gonna be good? But now it's like genuinely, I like this. I want to see more of this, which is good. I thought it was a good movie. It does have its problems, but does in every movie. Yeah, I'm gonna also give it 8 lightsabers through Han's heart,
Oh, all through the heart?
Oh, I thought it was-
both literally and metaphorically.
For me, I would say that because Poe Dameron was in there, 10. But then I have to discount a point for that rape culture shot. Ugh, so uncomfortable. So 1 point off of there. And then 1 extra point taken off for that really long shot of Luke at the end. That was too much.
Yeah.
I just couldn't stop laughing.
You're talking
I was
about
in theater and
the
I felt so
helicopter
bad.
shot?
Yeah, the aerial shot.
Yeah, no, yeah, that
A
was.
lot of people didn't like that, I've noticed. But
Yeah,
I
that
was
was
laughing.
gonna
I
be
think-
in my
That's all right with
flaws, but I
Like,
forgot
it was
about
too
it. That was
long.
terrible.
It was too long.
was
I
way
just
too-
started laughing. I
Yeah,
felt disrespectful.
it should
in the
have
theater.
just been like, hands are the thing he looks, movie over.
Yeah.
I
Instead,
think I would have
like,
liked it better
there.
because that look on. I mean, Mark Hamill gives a great performance
Oh,
for
of
all
course.
10 seconds, but I mean
Yeah.
that look on his face, I was just like, "What's going to happen now?"
But he was just staring at her and she was just holding it. I was like, damn,
Like,
I
are
would
you
have
gonna
put my
take
arm
it?
down.
Yeah,
I would have thrown it at him and then walked away because
Yeah.
he pissed me off
Like,
for
can
just
you,
staring at me.
does he still have the Force with him? Can he, or is he, too weak to, get it and have it
Or like
gravitate
walk
toward
up to
him?
him, put it in his
Yeah.
Yeah,
hand,
I don't
here
know.
you go.
that's part of it. Not only the helicopter, because it was in freeze frame, basically.
I was just like,
he was
kept
just
it.
holding it, and he was just like this, and it was just like, that's good, really gratuitous.
What if he messed up the shot and she had to keep holding that lightsaber out? Can he time that? Can you get that?
I'm pretty sure they could have
So,
just
yeah.
filmed her.
I hate to
Gratuitous.
be that person, but I guess
No,
also
it's
8
okay.
out of 10 lightsabers
I think 8 out of 10
is pretty
is
fair.
very solid.
Yeah, it's solid. It's not perfect, and it's not almost perfect, but it's great.
I don't know.
Basically,
I give it 7 daddy issues. I mean, skewers.
Issues.
Not 8. I would give it 7 because it was cute. It was cute. The movie was cute, and it dragged on. I feel like they put too much in one movie. They could have cut it a little bit shorter. It didn't need to be
I thought it was good.
I thought it was really quick pace for me. Because when you look back at the Star Wars franchise, everything's kind of developed, and it takes a couple movies to
There is an odd sense of you don't really get a good picture of how fast time is moving. What's the period of days or weeks that this
that's
takes
true.
place? And it's a little kind of hard to say.
Yeah,
it
that's
feels
true.
a little weird. So I mean, I think I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. It was visually stunning, though, I will say. Especially the shots on Jakku were great.
Oh well, JJ is a much better visual stylist than George Lucas.
even if he gets shit for the lens flare, it was restrained definitely in this movie. Yeah, I would say, okay, if we're dipping back into criticisms a little bit, because it seems like we are, I hate when I know the end of a movie is coming, and I knew it was coming, and that might just be a nitpick of mine. Unless it, like, is coming to, like, the tip of a crescendo, which I didn't really seem like it was even with the helicopter shot. I don't know, like, okay, this movie has like 5 minutes left in it. I didn't like that. But otherwise, good movie.
So, I guess this concludes this podcast. If you like what you hear, please like us on Facebook at fairlyaverage.com. If you want to follow me at 90s Geek on Instagram, and Skippy the Ninja Reyes at Instagram. I'm never really good at this plug. Do you have an online portfolio or anything people can follow you at?
You can find me on the internets at curtisbaileydesign.com.
Yeah, he's an amazing designer and illustrator.
Pay him money.
Yeah, definitely. He's amazing.
All the monies.
Yeah.
Not Zimbabwe dollars.
I'll take those too. Doesn't matter.
So, that's it. Bye, guys.
May the force be with you.